To know the Apsáalooke is to know the wind that defines the northern plains, a force that is ancient, unrelenting, and essential. Known to the Western world as the Crow, this name is a relic of linguistic misunderstanding, a French translation of a translation that transformed the children of the long-beaked bird into a scavenger of the fields. But the Apsáalooke are not scavengers. They are architects of survival, masters of the horse, and practitioners of a spiritual diplomacy that allowed them to navigate the most turbulent centuries of North American history. This is a journey through the middle of the land, a place defined by the four poles of a sacred teepee and the enduring vision of a people who chose wisdom over extinction. The historical trajectory of the Apsáalooke begins not in the shadow of the Rockies, but in the humid woodlands of the Ohio country, south of Lake Erie. The ancestral Siouan groups, which included both the Crow and their linguistic cousins, the Hidatsa, began a westward migration in the 12th and 13th centuries, moving through the modern-day regions of Illinois and Minnesota to settle south of Lake Winnipeg. During this era, they functioned as semi-sedentary agriculturalists, cultivating crops while supplementing their diet through bison hunting in settled villages. The movement further westward was precipitated by the shifting geopolitics of the 16th century. The Ojibwe and Cree, collectively known as the Iron Confederacy, gained early and superior access to European firearms through the northern fur trade. This technological disparity created a westward ripple of displacement, pushing the Apsáalooke and Hidatsa toward the upper Missouri River. By the time they reached the Missouri, the people had become established farmers of corn, beans, and squash, yet the internal pressures of a growing population and conflicting visions of the future began to fracture the tribal unity. The definitive split between the Crow and the Hidatsa is preserved in a foundational cultural narrative involving two brothers and two distinct visions of prosperity. As the people resided near Spirit, Devil's Lake in North Dakota, the leaders Sheepdetash, No Intestines, and Cheatdehishish, Red Scout, sought spiritual guidance. According to the oral tradition, Red Scout's vision of corn tethered their followers to the fertile riverbanks of the Missouri, where they remained a sedentary agricultural people. Conversely, No Intestines was gifted with the sacred tobacco seed, a plant not for leisure but for the spiritual preservation of the nation. He was commanded to lead his people west to find the precise mountains where this seed could be planted with efficacy. This migration led the Apsáalooke into a confrontation with the Shoshone bands, specifically the Bikashe, or people of the grass lodges, whom they eventually drove westward to secure the Yellowstone River Valley. By the late 17th century, the Apsáalooke had fully transitioned from the woodland agriculturalists of their ancestors into the nomadic bison-hunting elite of the High Plains. They renamed the Yellowstone River Ichi-dik-kar-sheshe, meaning Elk River, and established a territory that was strategically positioned between the Missouri River and the Rocky Mountain front. The Apsáalooke conceptualization of their homeland is famously articulated through the metaphor of the four teepee poles, a spatial philosophy that defines the borders of their sovereignty not through surveyor lines, but through sacred landmarks. This middle of the land included the rich river valleys of the Judith, or Bulupashe, or Plum River, the Powder, the Tongue, and the Bighorn. The mountainous boundaries were equally vital: the Bighorns, Issawaksa-Woo-Woo, the Pryors, Bapuu-Issawaksa-Woo-Woo, and the Wolf Mountains, Cheatish, or Wolf Teeth Mountains. The analysis suggests that this geographic positioning was both a blessing and a burden. The land was arguably the richest bison habitat on the continent, which inevitably attracted the attention of encroaching neighbors. The Apsáalooke found themselves defending this heartland against the Blackfoot Confederacy to the north, the Shoshone to the west, and the massive westward expansion of the Lakota and Cheyenne from the east. This constant state of defensive warfare shaped the Crow into a nation of high-alert specialists in both combat and diplomacy. To understand the internal resilience of the Apsáalooke, one must examine the Ashamaliaxia, or the clan system.
Unlike the patrilineal structures of many neighboring tribes, the Apsáalooke are strictly matrilineal. Every child is born into the mother's clan, and this kinship determines their social obligations, their physical safety, and their emotional support. The Crow clan system functions as a sophisticated web of checks and balances. While the mother's clan provides the foundational identity and nurturing support, ensuring that no child is ever truly an orphan, the father's clan, Apsáalooke, is responsible for the child's public standing and spiritual protection. A unique aspect of this system is the teasing relationship. Members of the father's clan are permitted and expected to tease their clan children if they display arrogance or fail to live up to societal standards. This social mechanism effectively manages ego in a society where personal bravery is highly rewarded, preventing the rise of individual tyrants. Conversely, when a person achieves success, the father's clan sings praise songs and bestows Indian names that are believed to carry the power to influence the child's destiny. Apsáalooke gender relations in the 19th century were defined by complementarity rather than hierarchy. Women were the primary owners of the domestic economy. They owned the teepees, the horses for transport, the food stores, and the domestic equipment. Their labor as life-givers and producers of intricate clothing garnered them high status and roles in ceremonial life. The fluidity of gender roles is evidenced by the history of woman chief, Biawachichish, also known as Pine Leaf. Captured from the Gros Ventre as a child, she was raised by a Crow man to master the warrior's skills. She excelled in the hunt and in battle, eventually becoming a war chief and a member of the council. She took 4 wives and led for over 20 years, demonstrating that in Apsáalooke society, the fulfillment of social obligations and personal achievement superseded biological determinism. Additionally, the presence of Berdache, or two-spirit individuals, was not only accepted but respected, with community members often resisting missionary efforts to force these individuals into Euro-American gender binaries.
The introduction of the horse around 1730 fundamentally altered the Apsáalooke way of life, turning them into what some historians describe as the middlemen of the plains trade. They rapidly adopted the Spanish-descended horse, utilizing it to expand their hunting range and move heavier loads than the traditional dog travois could accommodate. Because of their northern location, Apsáalooke horse herds were subject to the winter filter. The severe cold often kept their numbers lower than those of southern tribes, like the Comanche. This scarcity made horses the ultimate currency of prestige. Wealth was not measured by hoarding, but by the ability to give horses away, particularly to those in the father's clan or during the bride price ceremony, where a groom would gift a horse to the bride's family. In Apsáalooke military culture, warfare was not about mass slaughter, but about the demonstration of coup or strategic bravery. To be ranked as a chief, a man had to perform 4 specific acts that balanced risk with tactical success. These requirements ensured that Apsáalooke leaders were not only brave, but also wise and protective of their people's lives. A leader who lost a man on a raid, even if successful in taking horses, would face a loss of prestige. The Apsáalooke world is governed by a singular creator known as the first maker, Ichikbalia. Their religion is strictly monotheistic, though it recognizes that the first maker has blessed certain animals, mountains, and celestial bodies with specific powers, or bakspé, that act as intermediaries for human needs. The primary mechanism for personal spiritual growth is the vision quest, bilishisane, to fast from water. Typically, a man or woman would isolate themselves in the high mountains, such as the Bighorns, and fast for 3 or 4 days, seeking a pitying response from the spirit world. If a spirit adopted the seeker, they would be given instructions to create a shapalia, or medicine bundle. These bundles are considered alive and are surrounded by strict taboos. They contain items that symbolize the vision: feathers, stones,
animal skins, and are believed to possess supernatural abilities to heal, protect in war, or ensure a long life. The Tobacco Society is perhaps the most distinctive religious institution of the Apsáalooke, serving as the direct legacy of the vision given to no intestines. The sacred tobacco is not for recreational smoking. It is considered a supernatural being that ensures the prosperity of the entire tribe. The society is divided into approximately 30 groups, each led by a mixer who possesses unique songs and symbols. Membership is an elite social status, often joined by married couples. The ritual cycle culminates in the spring with a 4-day tobacco dance held in a specially built lodge of 10 pine trunks, where the seeds are planted with a rhythm meant to imitate thunder. This ceremony is a quintessential example of how the Apsáalooke integrated their ecological knowledge with their spiritual mandates to ensure the survival of the collective. As the 19th century progressed, the Apsáalooke faced a dual invasion: the steady westward push of American settlers and the aggressive expansion of the Lakota, Sioux, and Cheyenne. By the 1860s, the Lakota had effectively seized the Black Hills, a territory previously used by the Crow, and were trespassing into the Bighorn Valley. The Apsáalooke made a pragmatic and strategic decision. They chose to ally themselves with the United States government. This was not a surrender of sovereignty, but a military calculation. From the Crow perspective, the Lakota were the primary existential threat to their lands and families. By serving as scouts for the U.S. Army, Crow warriors hoped to use American military might to clear their territory of Lakota and Cheyenne intruders. In 1876, several Crow scouts, including White Man Runs Him, Harry Moccasin, and Curly, were attached to George Armstrong Custer's 7th Cavalry. They provided the intelligence that located the massive Lakota-Cheyenne encampment on the Little Bighorn River, which was notably located within the legally recognized Crow Reservation. While other tribes suffered total dispossession and exile following the Indian Wars, the Apsáalooke scouting strategy, combined with astute diplomatic maneuvering by their chiefs, allowed them to retain 2.2 million acres of their ancestral homeland. The Crow Indian Reservation remains the largest in Montana, a direct result of the chickadee strategy of listening and adapting rather than engaging in a war of total attrition.